Hi friends, welcome back to Dental Tutorial channel. Last time we left our discussion at gingivitis modified by systemic factors. Now let's move on to other topics. Guys, I have written a case history for you. Let's find out what is the diagnosis here and how to come to a diagnosis based on the chief complaint. Friends, name, age is normal, okay? Then chief complaint is my gums keep peeling off. History is from 2 months. Medical history shows that patient is having pemphigoid, and the perio chart shows that tooth number 11, 12 and 13, that is upper right maxillary, central incisor, lateral incisor and canine. Their probing depth everywhere it is less than 3 mm or 3 mm, so 223, 333 and 332. Recession is nowhere present. Bleeding on probing is present at all the 9 sites. There is no mobility. Also in the additional information it is given, the chart represents full mouth of the patient. This means that although in the perio chart they have given just 3 teeth, but based on this perio chart they have told that everywhere else in the mouth the condition is same, that is everywhere in the mouth, be it upper left or upper right or lower left or lower right quadrant, everywhere the probing depth is not more than 3 mm. There is no recession anywhere present. The bleeding on probing is present everywhere, and there is no mobility present or there is no furcation involvement. Friends, if you can see that if you just look at this history, if you just look at this perio chart and you don't care much about this history, then this is a perio chart of gingivitis associated with plaque only. But in the history they have given pemphigoid, and in the chief complaint patient says that his gums keep peeling off. Friends, this is a different type of gingivitis, because here patient is complaining of something that his gums are peeling off and patient is having medical history. Friends, this is an example of desquamative gingivitis. Desquamative gingivitis is a manifestation of certain autoimmune disease, for example pemphigoid, pemphigus, lupus, erythema multiforme, in which the patient complains that his gums, they keep on peeling off. There is a severe pain that patient experiences, and there is diffuse redness over the gingiva. Also there is bleeding present almost everywhere. Friends, in this case pemphigoid is one of those lesions that can manifest its gingival lesions as desquamative gingivitis. So this perio chart, it represents the diagnosis of desquamative gingivitis. In exam there is a condition, we call it gingival manifestation of systemic disease. The gingival manifestation of systemic disease, it represents, or under the gingival manifestation of systemic disease there are 2 types of conditions. One is desquamative gingivitis and another condition is allergic conditions. For example, if in the options in the exam you don't see this option desquamative gingivitis, but you have an option of gingival manifestation of systemic disease, so your diagnosis will be gingival manifestation of systemic disease. In case you have the diagnosis of desquamative gingivitis present in the options, you will go for this diagnosis. What are allergic conditions? Guys, there are certain allergic conditions. For example, if a patient is allergic to toothpaste or mouthwash or chewing gums, he may present with the same perio chart, and the history might say medical history none, or he can say 2 months since I have started using new toothpaste. If you can see the essence of the information, this means when the patient started using his new toothpaste, his gums started peeling off. Peeling off of the gums is a condition we call desquamative gingivitis, and because this is because of allergy to a new toothpaste, it comes under the umbrella term of gingival manifestation of systemic disease. So friends, in exam, if you get a perio chart like this and a history like this, you will go for gingival manifestation of systemic disease. Now let's modify this history a little bit and let's see how the diagnosis changes. Instead of chief complaint of my gums keep peeling off, patient may say my upper tooth hurts when I bite. In the history, they have said for 2 months, medical history is pemphigus. Friends, there is a tendency for the students that whenever they see medical history of pemphigus, they have one thing in mind, that this will definitely be a case of desquamative gingivitis. But please don't jump onto the conclusion of desquamative gingivitis just merely by the presence or absence of pemphigus, pemphigoid, SLE or other conditions like erythema multiforme. Please read the history carefully. In the chief complaint, patient nowhere says that he is facing any kind of severe pain or his gums are peeling off or he has diffuse redness or inflammation all over the gums. He just said that I have pain in the upper tooth. This pain in the upper tooth can be because of some endodontic lesion. History is for 2 months, medical history is pemphigus. But friends, this history does not take us to the diagnosis of desquamative gingivitis. If you look at the perio chart, yes, you can say this perio chart is the same that was present in desquamative gingivitis. But friends, if you look closer, this perio chart is same as it was in gingivitis associated with plaque only. So even if medical history said that patient is having pemphigus, but chief complaint does not say anything related to desquamative gingivitis, so just merely on the presence of pemphigus, we cannot come to the diagnosis of desquamative gingivitis. This is a condition, we call it gingivitis associated with plaque only. This is the diagnosis of this lesion. Okay, now let's move on to periodontitis. Friends, periodontitis is a very important topic. Periodontitis is a chronic condition. There are different types of periodontitis. Normally the periodontitis, it happens in middle age or at least more than 35 years of age, mostly. Periodontitis can be of different types. It can be mild, moderate or severe. Also, periodontitis can be localized or generalized. Localized periodontitis means when number of sites involved are less than or equal to 30%. I will come to what do you mean by number of sites. Then if the number of sites are more than 30%, the periodontitis becomes generalized. Friends, if you remember, periodontitis and gingivitis were different because in periodontitis clinical attachment loss or bone loss is present, but in gingivitis there is no bone loss. So now depending on at how many sites in a given patient the clinical attachment loss is present, we differentiate the periodontitis into generalized or localized based on clinical attachment loss. Now what about mild, moderate and severe. When 1 to 2 millimeter of bone loss is present, we call it mild periodontitis. When 3 to 4 millimeter of bone loss is present, we call it moderate periodontitis. And when more than or equal to 5 millimeter of bone loss is present, we call it severe periodontitis. Friends, 1 to 2 millimeter of bone loss or clinical attachment loss, same where 3 to 4 or more than 5 millimeter of bone loss or clinical attachment loss. Sometimes you are given in the history 3, 3, 4. As I have told you, in the absence of recession, when there is no recession present, the probing depth that is normal, we consider it up to 3 millimeter. Here it's more than 3 millimeter. So up to 3 millimeter it is normal. So 4 minus 3 it becomes 1 millimeter. This becomes an example of mild periodontitis. Let's say somewhere it is given here, this part is more than 3 millimeter, so minus 3 it becomes 3 millimeter. So the clinical attachment loss here is 3 millimeter. Let's say in this case probing depth was given 3, 10, 1. And we know when there is no recession present, we just have to subtract 3 millimeter from the given probing depth to find out the clinical attachment loss. So it becomes 7 millimeter. This is an example of severe periodontitis. I will make it easy for you basis on the perio chart. Let's draw a perio chart to find out what is localized, what is generalized. So let's say the tooth number 1, 4, 1, 5, 1, 6 and 1, 7. The probing depths are 3, 3, 4, 1, 1, 2, 3, 3, 2, 4, 1, 5. Let's talk about recession. 0, 0, 1, 1, 0, 1, 0, 0, 0, 1, 1, 2. Bleeding on probing. Let's say it is present here, here, here and here. Mobility, grade 1. Unfurcation, it is present on the buccal side of 1/7 and that is grade 1. Now let's find out at how many sites clinical attachment loss is present. 3, 3, 4. So it is present here. 1, 1, 2. Because here recession is present, so this is also a site of attachment loss. This is also a site of attachment loss. Here 3, 3, 2 and no recession, so no site has any kind of clinical attachment loss. Here at every site recession is there, so all the sites they become a case of clinical attachment loss. So let's count how many sites of clinical attachment loss are present. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. So we have clinical attachment loss at 6 sites. Okay, and how many total number of sites are there? Total number of sites, these are 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11 and 12. So total number of 12 sites. Out of 12 sites, clinical attachment loss is present at 6 sites. So what is the percentage of involved sites? That is the percentage of sites that have clinical attachment loss. It is 6 divided by 12 into 100. This comes out to be 50%. As we know, that anything more than 30% it becomes a generalized. So friends, this perio chart represents generalized chronic periodontitis. Let's draw another perio chart. Let's say now the probing depth is 221, 114, 332, 221. Recession is present 0, 0, 1, 0, 0, 0, 0, 0, 0, 1, 0, 0. Bleeding on probing, let's say, is present everywhere. There is no mobility anywhere and there is no furcation involvement. So now let's again count at how many sites clinical attachment loss is present. Here, here and here. So 1, 2 and 3. So at 3 sites clinical attachment loss is present. And how many sites are in, what is the total number of sites? 3, 6, 9 and 12. Let's find out what is the percentage of involved sites. Percentage of involved sites. It is the number of sites where clinical attachment loss is present divided by total number of sites multiplied by 100. 1, 4, 25. So basically this comes out to be 25%. Now we know less than or equal to 30% it becomes localized periodontitis. So guys, this perio chart represents localized periodontitis. Friends, the next condition is very important because it's somewhat confusing and people they find it difficult to differentiate between the types of this lesion. The next lesion is, or the next condition is aggressive periodontitis. Friends, aggressive periodontitis is a condition which is basically a disease of less than 30 years of age. And this disease happens in patients who are not in their middle age, sometimes from start of the puberty till 30 or 35. Moreover, in aggressive periodontitis, the microbial load or the presence of calculus, it does not correlate with the damage that has been there. Also, there is a very rapid bone and clinical attachment loss that is present in the aggressive periodontitis. It is of two types. One is localized, second is generalized. The normal age group that can have localized aggressive periodontitis generally is from, let's say, 12 to 25 years of age. In the generalized, it is somewhat more, that is up to almost 35 years of age. Friends, always remember, aggressive periodontitis is a condition in which a patient does not have very much calculus present in his mouth, but there is rapid loss of bone or attachment apparatus leading to loss of teeth because of severe mobility. In these conditions, how to differentiate whether the aggressive periodontitis is localized or the aggressive periodontitis is generalized? Always remember, when it is localized periodontitis, molars and or incisors are involved. At least 2 permanent teeth will be involved. At least 2 permanent teeth will be involved. Out of them, at least 1 must be molar. What does this mean? This means, let's say, if the teeth that are affected are 1, 6, 2, 6, 1, 1, 1, 2, 1, 4. Let's say because now 5 teeth are affected, but out of them at least 1 molar must be there. These are 2 molars that are present. I will show this thing in the perio chart. It will become easy for you to understand. So as of now, just remember that the localized aggressive periodontitis, it involves at least 2 permanent teeth. Out of them 1 must be molar. In the generalized, at least 3 permanent teeth other than incisors and molars. Here at least 2 permanent teeth should be involved. Out of them 1 must be molar. Here other than incisors and molars that are already affected, actually at least 3 other permanent teeth needs to be involved. So let's make it clear with the help of perio chart. In fact, I will write a history for you that will help you to understand this lesion more clearly. Let's focus on this case history. Name, age is 20 years. Chief complaint, I feel my teeth are getting loose. So patient is facing increased mobility of his teeth. History of chief complaint 2 years. Medical history is not significant. In the perio chart, buccal and lingual. So guys, since I had less space on my whiteboard, so I have written here buccal and lingual, but in exam you always have first readings pertaining to buccal and then lingual. So just for the sake of the ease, consider that this perio chart is same for buccal as well as lingual sides. In the perio chart, tooth number 14, 15 and 16 are given. The probing depth is 224, 117, 787. Recession 000, 001, 121. Bleeding on probing is present at this and all these sites. Mobility is grade 3 and furcation is grade 3 in case of 1-6. In the additional information it is given, patient has lost his 1-1 because of similar condition. So now if we want to come to the diagnosis of aggressive periodontitis, the first condition for the aggressive periodontitis is the age of the patient is less than 30 or 35. Here it is 20 years, so it is already less than 30 years. Second thing, in the perio chart, there is severe bone loss present. Because if you look at the clinical attachment loss here, it is 8 mm, 10 mm, 8 mm. If you look at this point, it is 8 mm of clinical attachment loss. Patient has already lost his 1-1 because of similar condition. This all information drives us towards the diagnosis of aggressive periodontitis. But friends, we need to understand whether this is localized periodontitis or this is generalized periodontitis. We know that in a localized periodontitis, at least 2 permanent teeth must be involved. Out of them, 1 must be molar. If we look here, this tooth is involved. 1-1 that has already been lost because of this similar condition. So this tooth is also involved. This tooth actually was involved. 2 and 8 mm. It's not a insignificant clinical attachment loss. It is very much significant. 1, 2 and 3. So 3 teeth are involved. Along with 1 molar. This criteria, it fulfills the requirements for the localized aggressive periodontitis. So friends, this is a case of aggressive periodontitis. Also in the additional history, they may give that patient keeps a very good oral hygiene. This is to show you that the clinical attachment loss does not correlate with the rapid bone loss that is present in this patient. Let's take another example. Friends, as you can see here, all these sites are having clinical attachment loss. Here it's around 2 millimeter. Here it's 5 millimeter. Here it's 7 millimeter, 7 millimeter, 6 millimeter of clinical attachment loss, 6, 9, 9 and 9 millimeter of clinical attachment loss, which is very severe. Then patient has very good oral hygiene. This means patient keeps a very good compliance with his dentist. He takes care of his teeth, but even after taking care of his teeth properly, he still have this much of rapid bone loss. Then the chart represents full mouth. Although they have presented here only 3 teeth, but they have said that everywhere in the mouth the condition is same. This means with the incisors, with the canines or with the other molars, this much of rapid bone loss is present. So for the diagnosis of generalized aggressive periodontitis, we knew that all of the incisors and molars must be involved. Other than incisors and molars, at least 3 permanent teeth should also be involved. Since now they have given the chart represents full mouth. If you look at here, 6 millimeter of clinical attachment loss, 5, 7 millimeter of clinical attachment loss, 9 millimeter of clinical attachment loss. Everywhere it comes under the umbrella of severe periodontitis. So basically clinical attachment loss is very much severe, and since it represents the full mouth, so all of the incisors and molars are involved. Other than incisors and molars, these teeth are also involved. So guys, this represents the diagnosis of generalized aggressive periodontitis. Now let's change this history little bit. Let's say the age of the patient is 45 years. Patient is having uncontrolled diabetes. And in the additional information, it is given the chart represents full mouth. Friends, age, medical history, but this perio chart, it remains same. So some of you might still be thinking that since this perio chart, it has a lot of clinical attachment loss, this might still be a case of aggressive periodontitis. But friends, always remember, the age of the patient is not very young. He is in his middle age. Then the medical history says he has uncontrolled diabetes. Always remember, for you to come to the diagnosis of aggressive periodontitis, patient must be healthy. That is, he should not have any disease that can lead to the clinical attachment loss. For example, leukemia, diabetes, or any other disease that can lead to the problem in the clinical attachment apparatus. So now, since patient has medical history of uncontrolled diabetes, which is one of the condition that affects the gingiva of the patient, so this is no longer a case of aggressive periodontitis. This becomes a case of periodontitis as a manifestation of systemic disease. Periodontitis as a manifestation of systemic disease. Other examples are like leukemia, diabetes, Cohen's disease, Shadai-Higashi syndrome, agranulocytic neutropenia, Down syndrome. These are few conditions that can lead to the destruction of the periodontium. So friends, always look at the history very carefully, and for the diagnosis of aggressive periodontitis, you must have a very healthy patient who should not be having any disease that I have just mentioned.